Here at What Do You Mean, we've made it our mission to read all the boring shit and sum it up for you guys, deconstruct the word salads, call out bullshit, and keep record. All as important as each other. And with that said, this video is mainly to keep record of the absolute insanity happening in America in regards to COVID-19. Strap yourself in. I've got a lovely collection of dickheads and shitheads and fuckheads for you, and to start off, we'll have Laura with one of the most reasonable things I've ever heard her say, and then of course followed up with a full 180.
Protect your health and that of others. Wash your hands a lot. Use a glove to touch outside surfaces. Socially distance. It's appropriate. It's the right thing to do. Help those around you who are homebound or just depressed. And there's a lot of lonely people out there as well. But let's also remember that capitalism will and is, frankly, delivering the therapies and we hope in the future the cures for this wretched virus. So let's not kill the free market in the process of killing the virus. Every time a company closes, the floodgate of anxiety and pain is opened for its workers. We want to stay safe and free. And those are my thoughts on the end of shutdown, day 14.
My worry is about those of you who will lose a job and may not get it back. I worry about you a lot. That is why I was worried about the original idea of confinement and shutting down the whole economy. It may turn out to be wise. Thus far, I'm not fully convinced, but I'm doing it because I'm a good citizen, and that is we're going to give it a try, but not interminably. We cannot wreck the livelihoods of tens of millions of people in our country, my country, in your country, unless the numbers are so frighteningly great, surpassing flu numbers in death. Remember, in America alone, 30 to 50,000 last season, this season, since fall of last year, have died from the influenza. Imagine if the networks kept up a chart with flu deaths every year. Why don't they do that? It's an open question. Why don't they?
Alright, it almost confirms my suspicions, the fact that this shit stains using that point, but it did click to me that you guys in the US don't have any sort of universal healthcare, so I feel like that many people probably do not need to die from the flu. I can see a lot of people just putting off medical attention because it costs too much, and then it gets too bad, and then boom. Oh, and this just hit me, to Laura's point about capitalism. Look up the government contract they had for ventilators, where they wanted to get a lot of smaller, easier to use ones. Yeah, look that up and then see how capitalism's worked out for this fucking COVID-19 situation. Where a bigger company that made the older, shittier ventilators bought out the small company that had the government contract and cancelled it. Yeah, woo, capitalism.
We allow people to drive their cars. 30 to 35,000 people will die. And across the world, it would be 1 million people or thereabouts. And there will be tens of thousands more, if not hundreds of thousands more, I don't know, who are seriously injured, maimed, or crippled in car accidents. We know that is the cost of having our cars. And yet, nobody says, let's get rid of cars. And so the calculation we have made, the bargain we have made, the deal we've made is those 35,000 dead are a price worth paying so that we can drive. We don't want to put it that way. We don't want to think of it that way. We're not saying that it would be worth it to actively kill 35,000 people to like appease the gods or something so that we can drive. That's not the point. Okay? We're not saying that we should go out and kill 35,000 people ourselves in order to drive. What we're saying is if people drive, 35,000 people or thereabouts will die. We don't want them to, but they will. And although we're very sad about that, we will accept that side effect. And then we bring that over to the COVID-19 discussion and we say, okay, in order to preserve our economy, we know what we're willing to accept in order to preserve our ability to drive. What are we willing to accept in terms of a death toll in order to preserve our economy and our way of life and our livelihoods. Our cars, along with our homes and our retirement savings and the food in our fridge and everything else. What are we willing to accept there in terms of risk, in terms of potential death toll? It's got to be way over 35,000. So what is it? I don't know. I'm just saying that's the point. That's the ethical question that we're dealing with.
Alright, whoever this shithead is, he set off my outsider perspective in a million ways. Alright, first little kind of irrelevant point. There are people calling to end cars, and that's got nothing to do with the death toll of car accidents. That's just to do with the emissions. I digress. If I had $1 for every time I heard someone point out that your infrastructure over there is absolute garbage, I could almost afford to fix your infrastructure myself. I feel like that might add to car incidents if you're driving around in like swimming pool potholes. Another point I'd like to make about the American death toll in regards to car accidents, I feel like if you're not earning a living wage and you have to work multiple jobs and you have to go from job to job and probably miss out on some sleep and drive around exhausted, that could probably add to your accidents, and I feel like that probably happens to many people. And if you're not earning a living wage, I reckon it's easy to believe that you haven't gotten your brakes checked as often as you need to. And one of my last points to this shithead, with the whole comparing pineapples to bananas, you have car accidents every year. You don't have a pandemic every year. Car accidents aren't contagious. Like, how many other points needs to be made about that? And finally, these people that are so okay with a certain portion of the population dying, instead of going, yeah, I'm alright with X amount of people dying, you should be like, I'm alright with my cousin or my friend I went to high school with. If you're alright with that many people dying, pick a relative, pick a friend, because that's what it is essentially. That's what people are. People's friends, relatives, family members that are loved. Like, you can't just be like, I'm alright with that, unless you're alright with it happening to you.
And let me tell you a figure that is given every day to give you an idea of the fake news, how utterly dishonest and corrupt they are. They tell you every day how it's spiking. America has more confirmed cases than other countries. It means nothing. It means nothing. It means that more people were tested. That's what it generally means. Also, do you not realize, my friends, let us say that America had 5 million cases of the coronavirus. So do you not realize that the higher the number of cases, the lower the mortality rate? That should give you actually optimism.
What?
To me and said, as a senior citizen, are you willing to take a chance on your survival in exchange for keeping the America that all America loves for your children and grandchildren? And if that's the exchange, I'm all in. And that doesn't make me noble or brave or anything like that. I just think there are lots of grandparents out there in this country, like me, I have 6 grandchildren, that what we all care about and what we love more than anything are those children. And I want to, live smart and see through this, but I don't want the whole country to be sacrificed. And that's what I see. I've talked to hundreds of people, Tucker, and just in the last week, and making calls all the time. And everyone says pretty much the same thing, that we can't lose our whole country. We're having an economic collapse. I'm also a small businessman. I understand it. And I talk with business people all the time, Tucker. And my heart is lifted tonight by what I heard the president say, because we can do more than, one thing at a time. We can do 2 things. So, my message is that let's get back to work. Let's get back to living. Let's be smart about it. And those of us who are 70 plus, we'll take care of ourselves, but don't sacrifice the country. Don't do that.
I'm right at the edge. I'm 56. In Italy, they're saying if you're sick and you're 60, don't even come in. So I'm in the danger zone. I would rather have my children stay home and all of us who are over 50 go in and keep this economy going and working even if we all get sick, I'd rather die than kill the country, because it's not the economy that's dying, it's the country.
Well, this dickhead has it backwards, doesn't he? No, people are dying, the economy is suffering from the effects of people, and the country should be the people, not the economy. The economy is meant to serve the people. Just like the government's meant to serve the people. You're not meant to be sacrificing people up for either of them. Evil pieces of shit, mouthpieces for capitalism. Yeah, look, we're so modern, we're so advanced. Ooh, look, America's number one.
Well, look, the governors are trying to take appropriate measures here, but when I see what's going on in California, in my home state of Illinois, in New York and New Jersey, where you're seeing extraordinary powers being grasped by these governors. Just as an example, this story of what's happening in Los Angeles, this is the mayor actually, who's basically said he is going to shut off the water and electricity of any business that violates his curfew and takes customers. I mean, come on, are we Russia now? Or are we the Soviet Union? I think there are abuses of power. And look, I'm very sensitive to the people who are losing their lives or infecting us. I have 3 good friends, one who's in a coma right now because of this disease. But we have to be smart about this, and we do have to protect people's individual liberties. And this is one of the reasons I strongly support what the president said of let's take some smart measures to protect people's health in the fullest way possible, but also reopen our $20 trillion economic engine, which is the greatest engine of economic growth and prosperity in the history of the world. We cannot keep this shut down for 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, as some people are talking about.
So why?
Me personally, I don't think the government ever has a right to tell me whether or not I can assemble. So I'm not going to pretend that I was ever okay with people saying, you can't go out the door, you can't do this, you shouldn't do that. It's my life. If I want to risk going outside, I can go outside, right? You can tell me how many people get into car accidents. If I want to drive a car and I'm a legal driver, I want to be able to drive a car. I get to be able to assess the own risks in my life. Treating us now that like we're all, oh, well, Candace, you're going to get, 20 million people sick or 6 people sick if you're outside, if you're a carrier of the virus, treating me like, like I'm my own, like bomb, like going outside. Mary. Yeah. I mean, listen, if you're afraid of me, you stay inside. You have the freedom to do that. Don't tell me to go outside. Like I want to go outside. To me, the value in life is not about staying inside and stay as long as you want. No memories that people have is, well, I lived to be 80 years old and I didn't see anybody, but it was a great life. I want to be able to see my family. My 2 sisters just had children. I'm an aunt for the first time in the last 2 weeks. Those are the things that I value, and I want to be able to go out and meet with people.
That's some concerning shit, man. Like, I have the freedom to infect my new nieces. Like, what? Like, I do trust that the American people, like everyday people, understand that you cannot enjoy freedom or the economy if you're fucking dead. I know that you guys know that.
Public health officials, but Dr. Fauci, for instance, was saying it could be several more weeks before we get the country open again. That simply can't be allowed to happen. We've got to get the country moving again. It's the only way to rescue the economy. And frankly, when it comes to the long-term public health of the nation, a strong economy is the best way to protect it. And it doesn't mean you can't take significant steps and continue significant restrictions to secure the public health, whether it be at the border or internally. But we've just got to get people moving back to work, back to school in a regular, organized way while taking into account the public health risks. Because I don't want the cure to kill the patient.
Alright, I mainly had to add this guy because you know who he reminds me of? You know the movie George of the Jungle? Alright, the guy that the woman was meant to marry before she met George. That guy. Anyway, this is the last one of just Donald Trump being called out and how he responds to that. And it's like, do these people not know that they are on TV when they're on TV? And that TV is no longer just a moment and we can retrieve it? Like, come on. Guys, your leader makes our leader look competent. That's fucked.
But I have a feeling that a lot of the numbers that are being said in some areas are just bigger than they're going to be. I don't believe you need 40,000 or 30,000 ventilators. You go into major hospitals sometimes, they'll have 2 ventilators. And now all of a sudden they're saying, can we order 30,000 ventilators? So, look, it's a very bad situation. We haven't seen anything like it. But the end result is we got to get back to work, and I think we can start by opening up certain parts of the country.
You've said repeatedly that you think that some of the equipment that governors are requesting, they don't actually need. You said New York might not need 30,000. You said it on Sean Hannity's Fox News. You said
that
why
don't you people act? Let me ask you.
You said
why don't you act in a little more positive? It's always trying to
get you. My question to you is,
get you. And you know what? That's why nobody trusts the media anymore.
My question to you is, how is that going to impact?
Excuse me, you didn't hear me. That's why you used to work for the Times and now you work for somebody else. Look, let me tell you something. Be nice. Don't
Mr.
be
President,
threatening.
my question
Don't be threatening. Be nice.
I think that's the closest you ever get to him kind of admitting that what he said was fucked up. Is that, be nice. Don't repeat back to me what I said, because that was fucked. These are some photos of bodies that are piling up in, I believe, New York hospitals. And the next photos of nurses and medical staff that are wearing garbage bags because they don't have enough personal protection equipment. In the richest country in the world, their staff in hospitals are wearing garbage bags. I believe one of these people in this photo has since passed away from the coronavirus. So, yeah, I'm here for you, my friends in the USA, because shit's fucked. Remember to wash your hands, practice social distancing, and thanks for watching. Stay safe, everyone.